So another thing, let's talk about wife swapping, right? Which all that means is say I meet your girlfriend first, or your true love, or the one you're supposed to be with first, and we hit it off before you even get a chance to meet her. That can happen too, right? So what happens there is vice versa. Oh no, I can meet the woman you're supposed to be with. Now, some of you want more than one woman and think you can hang with that, but it's the curse of Solomon, I guess, right? You might can have 1,000 women, but you're gonna be very jealous and very ornery. And the thing is, you gotta please all 1,000 women, right? You gotta fuck them at least once a month. You gotta fit 1,000 sex partners into your life in a month. Good luck. By the way, and you're supposed to please your ladies. You're not just supposed to, you know, 10 seconds in and you're out. At least a minute, right? To 5, right? The ideal for a woman is 25 minutes, by the way. They say. I think if you ask Mary Bell, I can hang with that. And Rose. Now, they were my stand-in wives, right? Because I had them to wife, right? You don't have to even be legally married to someone, right? Like the man with the woman at the well. The last one was not her husband, but he had her to wife, right? Now the thing is, right, when she met Jesus, was he the seventh man, right? To have her to wife too, right? Now if your wife's cheating on you, what's gonna happen? You're gonna cheat on her. That's another option you have, by the way. It's called wife swapping, right? Never thought about that, huh, Moses? You can have my life for a bit, I'll have yours. How about that? Eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth would imply that instead of murdering the man and woman for cheating on you. One's better than the other, I think, right? Now, as long as I'm single, I can what? Mingle. If you're with someone, you're not supposed to mingle, right? Even with another man, right? Now, if it's consensual, in other words, the wife knows about it, that's between you and her, right? Another thing people don't like is when you do it behind their back. That's why I tell you the truth. If I'm interested in Miley Cyrus, I would only try to be with Miley Cyrus and not Noah, for example. They're sisters, right? Like Rachel and Leah. Mm-hmm. Problem is, Rachel agreed to that, right? And because she agreed to that, oddly, she didn't get pregnant by Jacob until after 7 years. Probably. Do the math, right? Not that Moses really tells you the math. That's the problem too. Well, how long did it take Rachel to finally get pregnant? 7 years or something, Moses? Yeah. Why is that? They agreed to it. I mean, he still knew Rachel, I think, the following week or something, whatever's going on there, right? But he couldn't, for some reason, get her pregnant until after all that, right? Careful what you agree to, right? See, right now I'm open, right? I'm free, I don't have no one, right? I'm waiting for the right woman. And if you want to be with me, I want to be with you if you're single, right? We can mingle, right? If you're not, we're going to have a problem because your ex is going to try and cheat me. That's why I say I can heal like the Wolverine, right? Even though a fictional character, Jesus can heal you like the Wolverine because of his spirit wound, right? Which would be thicker than a bullet wound, right? Oh, you think the velocity of the bullet matters to God, huh? Right? No, it don't. Simple as that. It don't. Even if you use a machine gun, which would put a bunch of holes in me, they have leprosy, which has a bunch of holes in people. So he can even heal you of that if you believe. Before they try to shoot you with one, right? Now that's the point too. I'm also being taught this for my sake, right? Not yours, not yours. See, I'm saying it so that whoever attacked me at 16 and 24 knows I'm going in faith. And you're not. That's why you call me a freak, right? Because I'm doing something freaky. Yow. I'm a super freak. Super freak. I'm super freaky. Yow. That's right. Well, guys can be freaky too. If you're trying to murder me and you can't, well, that's the reason you're doing something wrong. And I'm forgiving that wrong to be healed of it, right? Like Jesus is on the cross, right? You don't even want a wife swap, right? You want a harem like Solomon, but don't realize the responsibility of that harem is you got to tend to all the ladies' pleasures, right? Well, if you're not, they get to go somewhere else too, right? That's why some men want to cut off the balls of a eunuch, right? And make a man a eunuch. That's just to call it what it is, right? To watch the harem, so don't cheat on him. Well, that man's gonna hate your guts for doing that to him. Plus, if we're supposed to be paired, a man with a woman at least, right? You're trying to make sure that don't happen when you have a harem, right? You're stealing someone else's wife to begin with, and you're not really borrowing her because you want her to stay around you too, so you can suck her whatever you want, right? That's another thing, right? Women might want sex even when you don't. They're sexual creatures too. You forget that. Even Elizabeth asked, "Shall I have pleasure of my husband being old also?" Right. She's saying it felt good when she was with Abraham before that, too. But of course, she was only with Abraham. I know. Right. Ooh, sexy mama. Right. Oh, triple play. This is where they bring in a third. Either a lady, usually a lady, right? Now, I've seen one where they had two guys going after one girl, and then one guy started, one guy finished. Right. But like I said, right, I wouldn't be down for that, but if you are, you gotta make wise decisions, right? Because we all feel differently about sex. Like the woman who picked me up on the bus, right? See, I look like her lover, right? So she thought I would be into it, and maybe he was into it. I don't know, right? But if I'm not, well, I'm gonna tell you, but I'm sorry, I didn't know that was what you were going for, right? And I know I look like him, but we're not on the same level, right? Plus, I would want your vagina first, and I'll be worried about him, right? Well, if I thought she only gave me a blowjob, right? She probably only gave me a blowjob, right? Right? That's all I remember there, right? Because I'm trying to get out of there, and she's trying to keep me, but I don't want that scene, right? When I came there was another man in the bedroom. And she probably doesn't fuck me, but I think she was wanting me to get the butt and then to get the vagina again. I was down for that, right? She just picked me because I looked like him. So it was a wrong guess. It was a wrong guess. Not every man is into that like something. And that's okay if he is. I don't judge you, like I said, right? But I walked away. You can do that too. It's an option you have. That's how I know I would never do it with even one woman than two men, right? Now, if you think it's not gay in a three-way, who cares? It's your business, right? Two. With two guys and a girl. Not a pun on the show either. Yeah. No. Right. Right. We wonder, do. Who wrote your book of love? Who wrote your book of love? You do things we never thought about doing. Woo. Pretty lady walking down the street. Pretty ladies, the kind I like to meet. Pretty women, I don't need you. This ain't true. No one can look as pretty as you. That's sad. You are. And the reason you are is the government's letting you do bad things, right? See, the government is your source of laws and rules that if they write messed up rules, like any other government, they're going down the same path as that government did. They're corrupting the government, right? Whether they know it or not. Right? A bad law is a bad law. And copyright law, the way you're doing it, is very bad. It's very bad. Because it's not about even fair use of music, right? You can't even really use it, which means you're blocking it, right? Which means you're illegally not letting people teach the music that's copyrighted, which is illegal. I know. So different than teaching from a book of poems, right? It's the same thing, I know. You'll let them teach Edgar Allan Poe in school, but they can't teach a Janis Joplin song, right? That's hypocrisy. I know it is. That's the problem, right? People know what you're doing. Not just me. That's why your sales, though, millions, okay, low millions, by the way. We're 300 million population. If you're only selling 1 million, right? You're not doing as well as you think you are. Right. You're not doing terrible. Exactly. But you're not doing as good as you could because of how you're doing it. You act like you're hiding something, right? I know. When you won't let people even teach a song that's copyrighted like they can teach fictional works under copyright law or even medical stuff, right? Like, the reason you can teach medical stuff is why? It's common, right? If you go to one medical school, they've got to teach you basically the same thing, right? As the other school, right? And they can't differ there. And if you're a pharmacy tech, you need to learn whichever school you go to learn the course, right? How to do that correctly, or and you can't do it however you want to do it, right? Well, that's where fair use comes in, right? And that's how you can learn to be a pharmacy tech. Same applies to music, right? But see, an artist must learn to sing with the notes we have, which are 12. And if you know how to be robotic or beatbox or whatever, right, you really got to do it, or you're again editing something together, which isn't wrong in and of itself, right? But it's not you really doing it either. You're fake-ish. See, I don't know I'm fake, right? But you're fake-ish, right? I know. Blah, 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 blah. Now, if you want to do what Michael Winslow does and impersonate guitar, what do you got to do? Make your voice sound like a guitar. That's what I do with Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. That's just like the group did it on the radio. Right? If you say it's not, you're full of shit. You're got caught and you're gonna get do that, but you don't want to hear it, and you can block shit out till you're deaf. Deafness, according to the Lord, means you won't hear what the Spirit is saying to the churches by choice. That he that has ears to hear what the Spirit is saying to the churches. But you could also, what? Ignore it and play deaf, dumb and blind when you're not. There are people, though, who really are, right? Again. And guess what? Guess what? You're the problem. No. You won't hear the Lord anymore. You blame the Lord because you don't want to do good things and you want to be the new devil, right? The old devil died, by the way. You just want to be the new devil. He passed away 6,000 years ago and drowned himself in the ocean. Kicked by the ocean. No, the devil's by the ocean. Where are you? Where are you? He comes out of the deep too, right? He's the one dividing the nations, right? And Jesus is trying to make us one again, right? And realize we're all human, right? But see, that's why, even though alone, I know I'm waiting for a female, right? If that's my gig, right? That's my gig, right? If your gig is males, I don't condemn that, right? So that I can find me a female, even a temporary one, right? That's right. That's right. But you can't cockblock me. But you can, right? If you are, you're doing it out of spite. Because you know I want a woman. And I'm happy with any woman that too. And even women know if you are into women and not men. Not men. They can tell. They can tell. And they can tell if you're trying to respect their choices, right? Versus. And, and if you don't even really care and you just want to fuck them, right? Now, some of them like to trick them and say you love them and they think they love you too, and they know they're being stupid probably, right? And going after their chemical reactions versus the truth, right? So I gotta warn you of that too, ladies. Chemicals don't mean the person is right for you, right? Alone. Or hormones, or right? Pheromones, right? We all put off pheromones, right? Thing is, though, you're looking at the jock because he's got that, vibe going for him, right? And he's trying to take advantage of it, though. Or even, again, right? You ignore the nerdy people or the overweight men, right? And sometimes that's just, how his family is eating and he's gaining weight and he don't know why. No, he just eat what he thought he could eat, right? Well, some of that's psychosomatic too, right? Meaning it's all in your mind, right? You see your mom or dad getting big from the food they're eating, so you do too. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Gilbert Brown's right. Cause and effect. But that's the whole thing, right? You got to help yourself, right? Now, my problem is I was a highly active person before I felt, right? I would exercise, walk, run, and bike, swim, right? I did it all basically. Do a little gymnastics, right? Though I wasn't properly trained to be a gymnast per se. That takes special training, right? Do all that, right? Right. But I'm not more worried about it than serving God, right? And right now, walking for me is greater than doing the flip. And more important, right? Even doing my little bike here is more important, even if I got to sit down in the chair to do it. And even if it hurts, and it didn't hurt before, right? And I could ride a full bike, right? Wherever I wanted to, 26 miles, right? Now, I might not get back to that level per se, but I need to do something now, right? So I get my, and you hate me for it. You hate me for the wrong thing, too. And you hate me for getting better. Where I don't wish you to even be injured, but if you are and you have that attitude, you won't get healed yourself. That's what you hate about Jesus, but then you play doctor to everyone. Dr. Fauci on down. You're trying to tell us you know what's happening. So, no, you don't. No, you don't. You know nothing. But that Jesus tried to die for your sins, and you're still sitting. And while you are sitting, Christ died for you. And even if you keep sitting, Christ died for you. And hoping one day you'll just stop. Whether you do or not until you die. And then it's over, and then it's over for you. And you go to the rainbow. To paradise or torment. Your works determine that. There's no other choice, right? You have two choices your whole life. The third is lukewarmness. Which, like he said, why do you think he spews you out his mouth as if you're vomit, right? Peter, you can sin as long as Christ deems you to be alive, right? If you've been alive since he left, you're doing something wrong, and you won't join him in heaven. Which is your option too, right? You want to stay here on the earth, and he's having to keep you alive as a witness for him, right? Even if you're a false witness now, right? But see, if the false witnesses come up early in the church, right, and they convince you not to do something or not to say something you're supposed to say, right, that makes you dumb to it, right? If you're supposed to hear it and you won't hear it, that makes you deaf to it. If you can read it and you won't read it right, you're blind to it, right? So you're deaf, dumb, and blind to it, right? So Jesus can heal that, right? Why do you think that's in the Bible? The deaf are hearing the word of God, right? The blind are seeing, and the dumb are speaking. You know that too. Mm-hmm. But your problem is you're all tied into you, right? And what's going on in the current world, and you don't trust God enough to bring it back to the Garden of Eden, right? Or you want to do it slowly or your way, right? Which is the problem, right? You don't want to hand the reins back over to God because you think what you're doing, going into space, for example, NASA, is more important than feeding the whole world, right? And making sure we got enough food on the earth, right? Before we worry about going to Mars, right? Now, only a few people will actually make it to Mars, right? And that's the point, right? That's selfishness, right? For those few people. When we got millions of people, billions of people on the earth, right? Which is where our problems lie, not on the planet Mars, huh? Whoa! He fell into the trash can. I can show you that thing. Rules you play the sympathy card, right? If you want him to do dirty pictures for you. I don't have a publishing company for that. Mm-hmm. You're not Playboy, and I'm not Playboy. Mm-hmm. I have no desire to be Playgirl. Even if other men do. Mm-hmm. Well, like I said. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this dude Andrew's taking pictures of women off the street and getting them to pose naked for his book. It's Naked Happy Girls, Three's a Crowd, aired in 2007, January 27th. Anyway. But see, like I told you, the reason I look at naked women ain't the same reason you do. It's not to lust after them. It's to deal with them clothed or naked, right? In real life, right? That's why I could go to a new beach and hang out, right? You go there, you want to get all crazy and act like you can fuck all the women just because they're naked. No, that's not why they're naked. That's a different thing for them, right? All right now. But like I told you, right? There's many ways. But not just your way. And see, you're self-righteous in nudity, Christians. Even the devil ain't as righteous as you. But that's who you have to cover up for is the devil, huh? Because he looks at you that way. Yeah. But how does God look at you? So you can't let the devil cause you to sin by looking at yourself how he does. No, right? Do you see what I mean? Right? When they're calling me fat, I ignore them, right? Because I'm not fat for what I'm going through, right? I'm disabled, so therefore, I'm not myself, right? Before I was injured, right? But with the injury, I'm slowed down, right? And I accept that, right? It's like if you are a woman, right, and you get big, I know part of that reason is your man, right? Knocked you up, right? And that's his fault, right? Not yours, right? But whether you're fat or thin, you can still be an attractive woman, like I said. And no matter your skin color, you can be an attractive woman. No matter your race or creed or religion, you can be an attractive woman, right? But like I told you, rape is not an excuse if the woman is naked. Nor should you rape someone to single them out if they're wearing a burqa, right? Or not. You don't do that to people just because they're doing something of a natural thing, right? Nudity is natural. Clothes have to be made, right? They had to sew the fig leaves together. Meaning what? There was nothing for them to wear. Right. You take cotton and make it into what? A thread. You take the thread, right, and spool it through a sewing machine to make clothes, right? There's no such thing as cloth on this planet. You have to make it. So you're teaching a false belief, right? From Satan, not God, that nudity is a sin, right? Or a crime. And you make it a crime, man. Because you're the ones who want to rape women and can't handle it. If you see one naked. And you also don't want to compare your junk to each other. What if my junk is just as big as a black man's own socks? And he's walking around hard all the time. Who wants to see that, right? See, if you're semi-hard or hard, that means you're just trying to have sex with anybody. Let it go soft. Or you're just trying to fuck everybody. And I know when it's on hard, right? See, when I went to the Clark Center, right? Well, the guy was going around with a heart on. When I went walking, I wasn't hard, right? I just went walking down the street because I was having a heat flash in my trailer. Whatever it was, right? It was just getting hot in there, right? And it was still spring. It was still March or April, right? When all that happened, right? But no one's wanting to help me either, right? And you're still not helping me enough to where I don't have bills. Or where I don't have a way to sit at home all day once in a while. Or can't go out like I want to, right? Because of the disability sometimes too. Which ain't my fault if you're making it happen, right? And they know when people are making something unusual happen that until then don't normally happen, right? How many people before I fell from that building actually fell from that building who weren't trying to commit suicide and wasn't really locked out the room? Which I was, as you were. Now, if you're locked out your room, you got nowhere to go. The only place you can finally sleep is the lounge. And any good person is going to try to get into the room first, right? By any means necessary. Whole point there, too. All right.